Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment and boxing capital of the world. Today I have two special guests on the show, talking about one of the great fighters of all time, Gerald McClellan, whose sister next to me, Lisa McClellan, and Pastor Kevin Person. And we're going to be talking a little about injuries to fighters. Talk about her brother, Gerald, who was one of the great champions, two-time world champion, WBO champion, WBC champion. His last fight took place in 1995 in Great Britain against Nigel Benz. Boxing is a tough sport. Boxing is not a game. You don't play boxing. Boxing, we're into hurt business. But, of course, the officials like myself, when I was refereeing for 35 years, one of my first and foremost, most important thing about my job was safety of the fighters, protecting the fighters from taking unnecessary punishment. So, Lisa, welcome to the show. Pastor Person, thank you for being on the show as well.
Thank you.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your foundation. You're involved with your foundation for your brother, Gerald. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, 3 years ago, I met Pastor Kevin and another gentleman who wanted to do a story about Gerald's life. And long story short, we decided to do a docu-series on not just Gerald's life, but the lives of other boxers after their careers were over. So we wanted to show boxers like Gerald, Pritchard Colon, Wilfred Benitez, but we also wanted to show fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard and guys that had great careers after their boxing careers were over. So we've been working on the docu-series. So we started a foundation because during the docu-series, we didn't want to just show the athletes and where they were. We wanted to do something about their conditions. So we teamed up with some wonderful doctors, scientists, and we started a clinical research committee where we wrote treatment plans, and we wanted to do something to help the fighters. So we started the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation, where we've teamed up with Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC to be able to provide help to the athletes that are in trouble, to be able to educate the athletes today, the active fighters, and just be able to empower these guys with knowledge about finances. We want to be able to help with a huge issue. It's a lot of our fighters, the older fighters, are facing homelessness. So we want to be able to help with housing for those guys, medical care, and whatever else we can offer to help get their lives back on track.
Very good, very good. Good information. And do you think that fighters should be kind of a pension plan for fighters? I mean, there's really no fight. There's no pension plans. Never was. Hopefully, somebody come up with a concept where they can say, okay, we're gonna have a pension plan for fighters that make X amount of money. So much goes into a pension plan, like any other business, any other job. Because it is a job. You guys have a job, but there's no pension. And I think this is one of the most a sport that we're in the hurt business, and the chances are there's a good percentage of fighters that end up, like you mentioned, homeless. Some of them brain injury. Some of them just don't have ways of making ends meet after they retire. One thing that I see a lot of fighters are being shown on TV over and over again, and the fighters who are involved with that are not being monetized. I mean, they don't get a penny from that. I mean, meanwhile, everybody getting rich off these fighters that fought 10, 20, 30 years ago. The money keeps coming in for these networks, for these individuals, but the fighters who are the principal actors in these fights are not even getting a penny. So I'm against that. I think somebody should try to work that out. What do you think?
Well, we have our first annual gala for the Ring of Brotherhood next month, October 28th. In Fresno, California. But on the Friday night, we have a sports and brain health symposium.
Right.
And one of our guests is the California commissioner.
Right.
And California is probably one of the only states where they have pension plans for fighters. So one of the things that I'm really interested in is asking Mr. Foster, how did you start the pension plan for California, and how do we implement it in every other state? Because these fighters really need it.
Right. Well, a lot of these fighters, they fight worldwide, and this should be uniformity across the board where everybody. Pastor Person, you can tell us a little bit about your feeling about these pension plans with fighters. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment and the sentiment of Lisa. There needs to be that support. It's really a travesty that you can give of yourself. You risk yourself to entertain the general public and your fans around the world and not receive any care, because really. To be frank, there is enough resources to go around. And you see that really taking off in college sports with NIL. You see the college athletes, they're able to make money off their image. And I think those same privileges should be for the fighters. There's enough financial mechanisms. There's enough financial institutions. And I think if it's leveraged right, those opportunities should be built into every single contract when they turn pro. Even now, because since the college athletes can receive, name, image, and likeness deals before even turning pro, even that should be explored. So I think it's a humane thing. I think as humanity, if we're not taking care of these athletes, there's something wrong with us. We ought to fight for them, exactly. Since they are fighting for us.
Have another fight outside. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Now, you're one of the co-founders of the Ring of Brotherhood. Now, you guys got together with something really worthwhile, of course. Unfortunately, Lisa, your brother has permanent brain damage, but there's some promising issues coming up his way now with these doctors. With some new kind of studies that he's doing now. And you, Pastor Person, as a co-founder, you see things going the right direction and on the horizon. You see good promises. Absolutely,
I'm glad you alluded to that. Just recently, this past June, the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation was awarded the Grassroots Award for the World Stem Cell Summit, and as we have been sharing. That we are a sports health organization.
Right.
And so that's kind of the emphasis there, so that the underserved can get the same access to all the new innovations in healthcare. Lisa was identified for her care for her brother, and it was an amazing opportunity. The governor of North Carolina received the award that day. Our logo was on the screen. And if you rewind the clock back a year, Joe and Jill Biden got the same award that we received. And Lisa, we were so proud to receive that award, but we know that the work is not done. That shows that there's movement in the space because of the narrative of the sport. Yes, we love boxing, but also we want to make sure we love the fighter when they stop.
Exactly. Now, Lisa, I had the privilege of meeting you in 2007, the same night that your brother got inducted to the California. Actually, it was the World Boxing Hall of Fame. We both got inducted the same night. And I had the honor of meeting you personally that night. But I had referee Gerald against Julian Jackson. When he knocked out Julian Jackson, I believe it was the first time here in Las Vegas, back in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a pleasure meeting you back in 2007, and you introduced me again to Gerald after his injury, and it was an honor that he was able to recognize me, because you said I gotta talk to him in his ear, because he's lost like 80% of his hearing, but he was able to understand who I was. He said, "Mr. Cortez," he seemed like very happy that I was there that night with him.
Oh yes, he has really good memory, and he definitely remembered who you were. And it's not his hearing, it's the comprehension in his brain. He can listen to, like, when he talked to like the grandchildren, his grandchildren or my grandchildren, their voice is softer, is easier for him to understand.
Yes.
So, but going back, one of the things that's important, Joe, was it's been almost 29 years since I've been taking care of Gerald, since he got hurt. And with the exception of the Jose Suleiman grant and Ring 10, those were the only two organizations in 28 years that I've been able to go to for resources, whether it be financial. There was no one else in the world of boxing to go to for help. So when we were building, and while we're still building the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation, one of the things that's very important to me is I know what it's been like for us for 28 years. Mm-hmm. I know what services that weren't there that were needed mm-hmm. in my taking care of Gerald. So we want to be able to, a lot of the things that I've gone through for 28 years, we want to be able to offer that kind of support to the other fighters and their families.
Yeah, there's so many fighters out there right now. I mean, there's a handful out there like Wilfredo Benitez, Preacher Colon, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other Castillo. One of Castillo's son he got some injuries a couple of years back. Castillo fought some fights here in Las Vegas. I refereed a couple of his fights, but and I saw his son in a wheelchair a couple of years ago in Mexico. It's kind of sad to see fighters going through and it happens. It even happens in football. That's why there's so many brain studies done, like here with the Lou Rubel or the Cleveland Clinic. They do studies with combat sports, with MMA and football and boxing. They do studies with these athletes to see where they can find some kind of help, some kind of a solution. But it's not easy. It's just a long haul. But like you said, you need all the help you can get. And these foundations, I believe that the networks should be more involved because networks, like I said before, they're capitalizing a lot from these old fight films. And I think that they should be one of the groups that you guys should go after and try to talk to them about see how they can participate because their shows are on there 24/7 on YouTube and different networks. All the time you see them, they're on there with these fighters. And you say, wait a minute, somebody's making money here, and these poor fighters that today are hurting so much, financially they're not making the income. They have nothing coming their way. So I think something should be worked out with these networks.
We joined forces with the WBC kind of by accident. Mr. Suleiman has been a big supporter. It started off with Jose,
right.
Was a big supporter of Gerald's, and it was important for him to look after Gerald.
Right.
So it kind of got handed down to Mauricio. So when we first started this, because of the work that I've done with the WBC, not only helping Gerald, but I help like 14 other athletes apply for the grant every year that the WBC is a part of, the Jose Suleiman grant. So a lot of these guys couldn't do the paperwork, so I started doing the paperwork and submitting the applications for them through the Nevada Community Foundation.
Right.
So most of the guys would fill out the applications, and then because of the head injuries, they didn't remember to follow up. So they were getting denied. So I started following the process, filling out their paperwork for them, handing in their documents. So when we started the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation, I didn't want Mauricio to think that we were launching an attack on boxing because we are big boxing fans. But I wanted him to know, although this was not an attack, this is something that's not going to go away, and it needs to come to the forefront because all of these fighters are walking around damaged, and everybody's pretending like they don't see it.
Right.
So we pitched the project to Mauricio, and he loved what we were doing, which led to the partnership we had. But absolutely, not only the WBC, Joe, we want the IBF, the WBO, the WBA, we want all the sanctioning bodies to come on board and help us help these athletes. We want the networks. So they're on our list of people that we will come to visit.
Sure.
Because they should be they were a part of it when the fighters were making money. They should be a part of it now.
Sure, I believe you're 100% right. Now, I know your job, Lisa, hasn't been easy. You got 24-hour care for your brother, Gerald, and I know it got to be easy on you, not easy on you. It got to be a very difficult situation to be in. Because I have a daughter who's a quadriplegic from an auto accident 29 years ago as well. And I know it's not easy to take care of that. How do you manage it? I mean, it got to be hard in your personal life as well.
Well, the grace of God, Joe, because it's not easy, especially with when you have head trauma and CTE, it comes a lot of violence, a lot of agitation, a lot of, it's just not easy. So it's been very tough. And I've done it for 28 years, and I've done it out of love, Joe, because of our mom raised us to look out for one another. So that's why I've done it for so long. But it's bigger than just, this is bigger than just Gerald, because I want to help the other family members so they don't have to go through the things that I've gone through for 28 years.
Yeah, no, it's not easy. I mean, we take our hat off to you because of the dedication. It hasn't been easy. I mean, it's got to be really tough, but God gave you the strength to keep going forward and keep helping out wherever you can. It's not easy, you know. So we want to congratulate you. I wish I could give you an award right now to tell you here's a trophy, here's something that can, because you well deserve a big award like that. But they should have a special night for Lisa McClellan in reference to what you do for your brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would rather have, instead of an award, Joe, I would rather have people embrace, like our organization and other organizations that are out here helping the fighters, because it's been really difficult to get people involved to help.
Sure.
You know, the same people that showed up for these fighters will shut the door on you now.
Yeah.
You know, because we're asking for help. And help doesn't always come in the form of money. You know, we can take a big organization like Showtime and ask them to share our flyer, you know, or just tell about our organization.
Yeah.
And sometimes that'll be enough to get people's attention on what we're doing.
Well, this is why I wanted you on the show today, because I felt I do my show. This is a show that I do from the bottom of my heart. I do this because I like to help out in the community, and I love boxing just like you do, and all the fight fans out there. But I care about people from all walks of life, and I like to share my knowledge and wisdom and my understanding and my caring way, and the way I think, you know, let me put you on the show so we can talk about what you're doing, because I know you guys can use all the help you can get, and I want to be part of that's why you're on the Joe Cortez Show today, talking about Gerald McClellan, who I was able and had the honor of refereeing in the past, and I remember when I refereed him against Julian Jackson with a knockout. He knocked out Julian Jackson twice. I've had Julian Jackson on my show on a split screen from the Virgin Islands of St. Thomas, where he lives right now. And what a gentleman he is. And he was training your nephew, Gerald's son, right?
Yes, yes.
He was training him for a while there?
Yes.
Now he's still training now. He's in Texas someplace training now?
Yes, he's in Houston, Texas, and he's actually going to be fighting next weekend in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay. But yes, Julian trained him, I think, for the second and third fight.
Right. So how's he doing now, your nephew? How's he now? His first name is?
Gerald Jr.
Oh, Gerald Jr., same name, okay. Does he have the same kind of punching power that your brother had?
He's very strong. Yeah. He definitely has a lot of power. He's a little late to the game.
He's 33 years old now, right?
Yes. So he's learning, but he's doing really good. Yeah. He's 5-1, and He's doing pretty good.
He got to move pretty quick. He's 33
Yeah.
years of age. You got to move a little quick. But with that punching power that he has, if he has half of the punching power that his father had, he could be a champion one day as well.
Yeah, he's got a big following. He's a lot like his dad, Joe, in a lot of ways. He's got the same charisma that his dad has. So he has a huge following. Everywhere he goes, it's like the kids are. He's got a group of kids since he's been in Texas where they had their own little section at the fight where they came to support him. So he's got a big heart, and he loved boxing.
Yeah, well, your family has done very well. I mean, you can see you're caring, loving individuals, and I see Pastor Person there. You remind me a lot of Michael Spinks. A lot of people have told you that before, right? You look a little.
No, it's the first time I'm hearing that one, Joe.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, you can pass for twins, man.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's he was a great man.
Yeah,
so,
I've read for him several times, but
wow,
yeah,
wow.
you remind me a
Thank
lot
you.
of him.
Thank you.
I like that. Well, Lisa, so the next step now, you're in Las Vegas today. You're going out to California for next week, or
Well, tomorrow we will be in Fresno, Clovis, where we're having our event. Just reaching out to people, trying to get people involved. This Brain Health Symposium means so much to me, Joe, because it's not just about boxing. It's about all combat sports. And especially with my grandson playing high school football now, we want to teach the parents and everybody around the athletes what to look for, the signs if your child gets a concussion, or if your fighter's getting a concussion. What do you do? What are the steps to look out for? So I want to go to to a lot of the local gyms for Friday night. The admission is free to athletes and students under 18 because we just want to educate those guys on even taking care of themselves when it comes to brain injuries, and like I say, educate the parents and the people around them. So that's one of the things we're gonna hit the ground and just get as many people involved as we can.
yeah, I like to see the trainers. I think that the trainers, you got to be trainers as well. They should have a seminar for trainers because a lot of trainers out there have these fighters' lives in their hands, and these trainers have these fighters sparring sessions in the gym. And one of the things I see about boxing, that they go at it like there's a war in the gym. And I like to see these fighters maybe ease up a little bit in training sessions, but also the trainers got to teach these fighters a little bit more defense. So when they actually go out there and fight, they have more defense. That's why Floyd Mayweather has been around for so many years, because he was a good defensive fighter. And a lot of trainers, you got to train the trainers so that these fighters will learn how to defend themselves a little bit more and prevent some serious injury. Sometimes a fighter get injured while training or sparring. And one of the things that in sparring sessions I noticed that there's not really that much of a weight class. I mean, a fighter could be 20 pounds heavier than the other fighter during sparring sessions. It could be a lightweight fighting, a training with a middleweight, and that middleweight is not letting up in the sparring session, and the fighters are can get some concussions while sparring, and the trainers are not doing nothing about it. And this fighter has a fight coming up in a week or two, and he's already going in there as damaged goods. So these are kind of things that you got to be brought up to these sanctioning bodies when you have these seminars. That the trainers, I mean, one thing I don't like, and I'm against it, and I'll say right now publicly, the trainers should be certified. A lot of trainers go out there and get a license just because they're a trainer. They go to a commission. These commissions should say, "Wait a minute, you're going to be a trainer. You got to be certified. You got fighters' lives in your hand. You have to take a test. You got to qualify to be a trainer. Not anybody can be a trainer, especially when you're dealing with fighters' lives."
I was told that all you had to do was pay $50.
That's it.
And get a trainer's license.
No.
But one of the things that we want to do, Joe, through the foundation, is to be able to have the doctors we're working with do videos, educational videos for the trainers, for the referees, or anyone that's willing to get the knowledge, but it is. And I was told something a couple weeks ago, Joe, that they said at Kronk Gym, when Gerald used to train at the gym,
With Emmanuel Stewart, yeah.
Emmanuel used to turn the heat up to like 90 degrees, so the fighters are sweating.
Yeah.
But today, that's really not helping the fighter, because once the fighters are dehydrating, the first place they lose the water is from around their brain.
His brain, exactly.
And it takes 48 hours to rehydrate, and the brain is the last place that's rehydrated.
You're 100% right. And, this all right. That's why these boxing commissions are not going to re-look at the way that they do the weigh-ins. Maybe the weigh-in should be done a little different, because they're doing it the same day of the fight, the day before the fight. And back in the old days, they go the same day of the fight. But if you don't make the weight, shame on you, you can't fight. But now they can say, okay, go back and lose some weight, lose 5 pounds in the next hour or so, come back and get on the scale again. But meanwhile, they've been dehydrating for the last 2 weeks in the gym. They're not in there 100%. That's one of the studies that these doctors have been doing. The neurologists have been doing studies that there's not enough fluid in the brain. Like you said, that's the last part of the body that gets the water back in the fluid back in your brain. It's so hard on the fighter, and it's got to do with the way the trainers are. That's why I say trainers got to take a certification course. They're making sure they got to make a written test, not just giving a license. I mean, when you get a driving test, when you get a license, you got to go on the road with an instructor, make sure you know how to drive. You got to take a written test, all of that. Why not? You're dealing with fighters' lives in your hands. Give them a written test. You make sure that they qualify. Make sure they have so many years' experience in boxing before they go in with these fighters in the ring. You just can't give a license to just anybody.
I totally agree, Joe. The most important thing is for these fighters to, even if they're getting concussions, they're not sitting out the correct amount of time for that concussion to heal. I don't know if you remember, Joe, when Gerald first fought Julian Jackson, they had a headbutt. So probably a year or two after Gerald got hurt, I received a letter from one of his teammates at Kronk, and he said, I think Gerald was damaged before the Nigel Benn fight.
Yeah. And
I got really upset, and I said, well, don't start rumors, because that's not true. But since I've been working with these doctors, and the information that I've learned in the last 3 years, Joe, Gerald received a really big knot on his head after the fight. And it was definitely a knot that size, definitely caused a concussion. So Gerald never took a break from boxing. So he went on, he had 2 train-up fights, and then he fought Julian a second time. And that fight didn't last long, but after that fight, he went on to fight Nigel. And he had another headbutt. So he probably had 2 concussions at the same time that didn't heal.
Didn't heal properly.
And they said 2 concussions is a precursor for a brain bleed. So it does make sense that he could have been, and I don't like the word damaged goods, injured.
He was injured
before.
Yep.
It's a great possibility that could have happened.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. That's what I was saying before. Well, the sparring sessions, training for a fight. A trainer knows that his fighter got hurt during the sparring session with a middleweight, and his fighter's a lightweight. He got rocked. He got buzzed doing training, and then like nothing has. Oh, I feel great. The fighter, I feel okay. And he got hurt or he got dropped doing training. I mean, there's some concussion there. He got hurt, and now he's fighting a week later. You going into this damaged goods already. That's why these trainers sometimes they have to speak up, but they don't want to, because they're gonna lose a paycheck. The fighter's gonna lose a big paycheck coming up. So everybody's quiet about it. But anyway, I just want to say that I'm so glad I brought you on the show today. We have to get ready to wrap it up, because time goes by so fast. We could talk for hours and hours about brain injury and talk about fighters' well-being. And I'm glad that we brought Lisa McCullen and Pastor Pearson on the show to talk about the up-and-coming, again, the October 27th, October 28th, coming up soon now. You're going to have the fundraiser, so we wish you the best of luck with that, Lisa and Mr.
Thank
Person.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being on the
Thank you
show.
for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, talk to you next week. God bless you. Keep your guards up at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. God bless you all. Take care.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you. God bless you.